Good evening, everybody. Welcome to round 6 of the North American Grand Prix GT2 Championship, coming to you live from Sepang, the Sepang circuit in Malaysia. Before we go any further, I'm joined tonight, as always, by Brad Maris. Brad, welcome.
And as always, it's very good to be here, Al. Looking forward to this one tonight. A very tough track. We'll get into some of its ins and outs as we go along here, but a very interesting mix for these GT2 cars tonight.
Certainly is, as the cars have gone on track now to start qualifying. 25 minutes of qualifying here. Andres Preto, first man out, but there was a flurry of activity coming out of the pit lane. Everybody trying to get out on track here. Track temperature actually quite surprising. It's very cool, and track temperature cool as well. Ambient 57 degrees Fahrenheit, track temperature 71 degrees. So very unusual here for Sepang, which is usually quite hot. If it's not hot, it's wet.
Yeah, that's right, and sometimes a combination of the two. So hot and wet wouldn't be too surprising either. It's a very challenging track, this. It's a very big track for some of these cars, and I tell you, the gearing is going to be very important to getting some good lap times around here. There are some very important high-speed sections to get through, but at the same time, there are some very slow corners. The first couple corners, turn 1 and 2, and then later on in the lap, turn 7, I believe it is, another very tight hairpin, and of course there's some very couple long straights to deal with, so you also need some top speed around this place as well. An interesting mix, a good challenge. We have run here before in the GT2 class. It looks like those times are going to be bettered tonight than they were last time we ran here.
On board with Preto now as he's about to start a hot lap here from Sepang. Got a quick look at the track map while Brad was talking about the layout. This circuit, as he mentioned, turns 1 and 2 here. Preto going through this section right here, right now. Very tricky set of corners. Very important to get the power down. Leading up to this turn 3, another tight right-hander, a corner where you feel like you can really brake a lot deeper than you can. You see a lot of guys sliding a bit wide here. Now here's when the track gets a bit fun. Turns 4 and 5, fast sweeping corners. Into this double right-hander coming up here. Another fast section, Brad.
And another place where you do want to have that gearing set just right to be able to carry a lot of speed through and get the power good coming off.
This turn 9 here coming up here, very tricky, very difficult left-hander, hairpin, uphill, very hard to get the power down up to this blind right turn 10. Very difficult to get your brake marks just right. And then another set of fast corners here, leading up to another blind right-hand corner here onto the back straight, very long back straight here at Sepang, followed up by the very long front straight. So very technical track, fun track to drive, frustrating at times as well.
It can be, again, and here's another corner here, this last corner, where it's so easy to brake a little too deep. You see Andres Preto, I think, actually got caught out a little bit by that. But it can be, again, it is a setup challenge, and it can be very difficult to maintain low-speed grip while at the same time trying to maintain good aero grip coming through those high-speed sections. It's a good mix, a fun track.
So Preto checks in with a 2:02.2 while David Poole rockets to the front with a 2:01.6, followed by Parsons with a 2:01.9. So David Poole, despite carrying a little bit of weight here tonight, is looking quite racy in that Gumpert.
Yeah, now, we saw Aaron Parsons late in that practice session, now currently running second there provisionally, running 0.23, but suddenly here in 0.19. Now, I thought that might be a qualifying pace, but apparently he has bettered that time, so I wonder just how low times might go here.
Yeah, he is up slightly in Sector 1. He only run one other time here in GT2. That was way back when, March 22nd of 2010. Over 4 years it's been since we've run here, as Parsons takes it a bit wide. But yeah, it's been it seems like a little too long for GT2. But that qualifying session, I believe, was marred by rain. Best lap time was a 2:11, so no doubt wet conditions for that qualifying session. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised we haven't run here more often in GT2. It seems like a track more better suited for GT1 cars, I suppose. But nonetheless, we're here. We're back finally in GT2, so happy to see it. Back on the calendar, Juan Monroy, currently in 4th early on here in qualifying.
Yeah, hard to say how close these times are going to be to each other up and down the field. Given the length of the track and its tricky nature, we might see some gaps open up during the race and perhaps some gaps here in this qualifying session as well.
Mike Monahan currently in 5th, about to close out a lap. Well, we've been off for a week due to the summer break and the holidays here in the U.S. So Mike Monahan running injured here tonight. He was on a fishing trip and had a tough fight with a fish, and I guess he hurt his back a little bit, but he's fighting through it here tonight, so hopefully Mike can stick it out for tonight's event.
Yeah, apparently Mike did finally win that battle over the fish, but it did cost him in the end, so the fish got in its blows.
So last week's winner, Alex White, currently in 7th. We'll see if he improves here. He does not, carrying quite a hefty amount of weight. He's got 80 kilograms of success ballast on board. So as one of the BMWs just rocketing out of the pit lane across the track. Not the smart play there, but White looks like he's struggling a little bit here early with that weight. Felipe Triana currently up in 8th. We'll take a quick look at the times here. David Poole continues to maintain that first provisional pole position as Felipe Triana on an outlap here in that Audi. Kurt Chandler having a nice start to qualifying here, currently in 9th in the 4:58. Nice to see Kurt up there in the mix. Rigo Triana back in 10th. Go ahead, Brent.
I was just taking a look at that Alex White time. I wonder how much he is being held back. He certainly could be with the weight. I'm wondering how much the car is affecting him too. It might not be the best handler around some of these downforce sections, that Aston Martin. So it'll be interesting to see here how he performs in the race.
He's got some traffic up ahead. He's about half a second off there in the 2nd sector. He's got, looks like Houston up ahead and Jack Ive. We've got a couple guys out of action here tonight. Palacios out, Ken Rodriguez is out, and a couple other guys. So I know for sure that is Jack. But White, we'll see where he ends up here. May get a little help from that Viper Houston up ahead, but White improves to 6th, so that's going to drop Mike Monahan down to 7th. Marty Eiran now currently in 8th. Marty carrying some success ballast as well. Kung Fu Racing really stepping up here mid-season. Ian Jolicoeur, who is actually not here tonight, and Marty Eiran putting in some fine drives the last few races. Ian finishing second last week. I know Gup Douglas is filling in for Ian, seeing as this is Gup's first run here in GT2 this season. He's carrying 40 plus 30 on the car for last week's for Ian's finish last week. So Gup's got 70 kilos to tow around in that Mercedes.
Yeah, quite a bit, and it has been quite a run by that team. Now, I was looking through those points kind of in preparation for some of our broadcasts, and I have to say I was very surprised not to see some of those Colombian teams up there in the top three. So the Colombian teams out on the outside looking in at the moment here in that team classification.
Yeah, we're just following John Wathen. He had a pretty decent first sector, but threw it all away. Mike Dressler. Dressler currently in 13th. There's a lot of tire smoke out of that exit there at turn 9. So Mike having a string of points paying finishes here in GT2 of late, and in GT1 I believe he finished in the points last week. All this after we spoke to him that one, I believe it was before Rouen, and he was just hoping to score some points, and now he's just on a tear.
Yeah, reverse of the broadcaster's curse for once, so that's nice to see. After all, he did go scoreless the first couple rounds, and like you say, since has been putting on some very good results, so has found his way for sure.
John Luden currently in 15th, filling in for Jesse Caldani in 05 Motorsport. Luden showing some impressive times there in practice in that Gumpert.
Yeah, surprised to see him so far back here on this provisional qualifying list. I'm sure he'll move forward, assuming he can get it done in the next 13 and a half.
Just over 6/10 off here in that second sector. Finish this lap off with Luden, see where he ends up. Other corner where you can really feel like you can take the car in deep. But
it's an easy track to blow a lap time on. There's a lot of it.
So Luden improves to P9. So let's take a look at the times here. Monroy has jumped up to second. So Monroy's showing some flashes of brilliance here. So just about a tenth, a little over a tenth off of David Poole's provisional pole time. Parsons remains in third. So Parsons is here. Oh, misses first split time. Parsons contending for that driver's championship. Only 15 points off the lead. Certainly not unsurmountable.
No, not at all. Really missed an opportunity. No, that's okay. Really missed an opportunity a couple of races ago at Osterschleiben, if you'll recall, Al, when Alex White ran into all kinds of trouble. Aaron Parsons not able to capitalize as much as he could have in that race, but still managed to pick up some decent points.
Yeah, I know he, I believe he ran into some trouble in that race.
Yeah, opening lap.
Yep.
Well, one guy I'm taking a look at right now on the provisional board is Matt Taylor. So Matt Taylor, really best of all there in that practice time before Aaron Parsons jumped into the server and reset that fast time in practice. So Matt Taylor on a charge and looking very racy here tonight.
So Parsons beats Preto by 0.03 of a second. Preto had that third spot for about 4 seconds before Parsons took it away from him. So Preto down to fourth. Yeah, you mentioned Taylor. He is up to fifth, looking quite quick in practice. So, a little surprised to see, Taylor's performance this season. I know he had some trouble. I know he had some trouble at Rouen with some, and a couple incidents there. but a little surprised to not see him further up in the standings here.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, it was, actually it's 2 non-point finishes there at Rouen and Birmingham, and since then only 4 points and 8 points at Osterschleiben and Monza. So, yeah, I would say it's a mid-season kind of swoon here for him, but, you know, tonight's as good a night as any to get back on the horse.
It's only 4/10 off there in that second sector, but, yeah, they're going to really need Axis of Awesome, himself and his teammate Alex White. They're going to need Taylor to score some points here, as Kung Fu Racing and T-Brock Dam Bam are both on a charge of late. And well, we know how quickly that team championship point standings can swing week to week. So they're going to need results from that for sure if they want to win that thing.
Sure, and all those top 3 teams putting in very good qualifying efforts here early well, not early, we're under 10 minutes to go here, but all 3 of those teams looking pretty sharp at the moment.
So Luden has improved to 6th. Marty's up to 7th, taking a look further back. Alex White back in 8th. Monahan 9th. John Houston, Houston's been having a very nice season here, currently in 10th here in qualifying on an outlap. Triana back to 11th. Felipe in the pits in 12th. So Mike Trussler is still looking strong here in 13th. I don't believe his teammate Alex Scott is in the house tonight, so fortunate for that team. Kurt still up there running 14th. Waffen 15th. Jonathan Cuppin currently 16th. Let's see if he improves here. He does not in that Viper. Gup Douglas towing around that weight. Currently in 17th. Joe LaCour is really he's gonna have to buy Gup a beer for this one. He's gonna have his hands full tonight. Currently 18th. Halili 19th. A little surprised to see Kreshtik that far back on the Porsche. I feel like the Porsche would be a pretty good car around here. Rally currently 20th. Johnny Lugnut's 21st. Mike Greatrix back in 22nd. Dan Wilkerson back in 23rd. Jack Ivey running in 24th. Connor Swain back in 25th. Mascarelli's running in 26th. Amy Moore, Story, and Greg Myers serving no call. So back out front, David Poole leading the way. Parsons improves to 2nd, but just off David Poole's time, 0.04 of a second off. But David Poole set that lap early and hasn't been able to improve on that.
And let me tell you, Aaron Parsons obviously does hold this very slightly better time there on the total lap, but those sector times are almost exactly dead even, about as exactly even as you can get. So throw a blanket over those guys at the moment, and boy, those top 4 times really all very tight, so I'm a little surprised to see that. I think one of these guys has got a little something special. He'll be able to break out of that pack.
Following Juan Monroy here in the Ford GT. Currently sitting 3rd. This part of the track can be very tricky here. You can see some of these guys. Looks like Juan was cut off a bit there, definitely, yeah. So that corner there, especially if the sun is low, the sun's right in your eyes. Ooh, as Preto's up in the 2nd sector, so we might have a change out front. Here, let's see what Preto can do as he closes out this lap. Just over 6 minutes left here in qualifying. Back on board with Andres. This will be good enough to take provisional pole away from David Poole. Nice exit there. No. lost it all. No improvement for Taylor. Marty in that Mercedes. Doing well considering the weight he's towing around in that thing.
Yeah, and you mentioned Gup Douglas back there at 19th, filling in for Ian with all that weight. You know, I was thinking about that a little bit. Gup Douglas, very experienced racer. You know, Gup is not going to do anything to hurt his chances of trying to advance through the field a little bit here. And I think Gup Douglas is in good shape to score some points on this track, even with all that weight, with all the experience he brings to the table.
Considering the circumstances, any points at all for Gup would be a huge success. No, I wouldn't be surprised if you see him there in the points near the end. Any little bit will help Kung Fu Racing in their bid for another team championship. It's been a while since they've won one, but boy, they really dominated GT2 for a while. Marty here about to close out this lap. Ooh, a little ugly there at the finish. That's not going to do him any favors. So back out front. Ooh, David Poole does improve now to a 2:01.4. So he's found a little bit more speed here late. And Dave's carrying 20 kilograms of success ballast here. So.
Yeah, looks like Aaron Parsons is in the pits right now, and he's just now leaving. So Aaron Parsons will get one more lap in. 4 minutes left to go.
Yeah, it is a long out lap. So if they want to get one in, they need to be on track right now. You know, I missed David Poole's sector time there.
Yeah, David Poole will get this lap in, unless he's going to run 2 hot laps this time around. This is going to be his last opportunity. So could have mistimed the end of this qualifying just a little bit for David Poole.
Let's see, Brad. Okay. I saw that someone said your mic was coming in hot.
Yeah, even in windowed mode, taking a bit of a chance. Trying to adjust that, but we got it done.
Yeah.
We're still live, Al.
Nice. So David Poole improves slightly. Monroy, just over a tenth off there in that second split. Ooh, he might get some help. Nope, that Mercedes, I think that's actually Marty. Yep, there he is, turned around in the gravel traps.
Yeah, and as you watch that, I'm watching David Poole. So David Poole is going to take another timed lap. And you know what? I think that given the track temperature, these guys, some of them are electing to run 2 timed laps here. That will give you more grip there in that second timed lap. And so I think they're trying to get a little extra heat in those tires.
Monroy to the line. No improvement. Let's see who's on a flyer here now. Prieto about to close out a lap.
Boy, Eiran has timed this thing perfectly. Now there is going to be just that little tiny extra bit grip here towards the end of this session. Eiran's going to be the last to come in, I think.
Let's see what Prieto ends up here. Matt Taylor's jumped up to 4th. Wow, late. Bumps Prieto down to 5th. Parsons here. Ooh, he's up big in the first sector. Ooh, a bit of a bobble there. Let's see what he does here in the second split. So Parsons was up 2.5 tenths there. thrown it all away.
Yeah, that's the best first sector time we've seen.
Charlie Core watching from his Twitch Android app, checking in. Ooh, he's off 1,000th of a second in the second split. This is going to be nip and tuck here at the end.
Yeah, he's pushing hard, and that Viper is going to have great pace coming down these straights compared to that Gumpert. He's got a shot here, looking for a couple tenths.
This is the pole Parsons is going to need. He needs every point he can muster here to catch up with White, who's leading in the championship.
Boy, how much do you try to take in that braking zone?
Ooh, he broke late. Here he is to the line. We're out of time. Ooh, he lost it. Oh, and Monroy. Parsons actually drops down to third.
Wow.
Monroy up to second. 4/400ths of a second off. Monahan's done. Triana, I don't know if he'll get this in. Wow, what a great lap by Monroy there at the end.
It really was. I have to say I'm a little surprised by Andres Prieto. Andres Prieto, I think, was starting to get the track figured out. Maybe didn't get enough practice time in, but started lowering his times. In the end, came up a little short to those guys in front of him. He'll slot in 5th.
I don't know if Triana's going to have time to get it in. Nope. Wow, that's going to do it. Wow, very close qualifying session here, as David Poole just edges out Juan Monroy for that pole position. Monroy starting second, Parsons third. And, wow, what a surprise. Matt Taylor up to 4th, bumping Prieto down to 5th. So, White back in 8th. So, quite an exciting, fast qualifying there, Brad. Went through that quickly.
Yeah, well, I think the reason why I went quickly was because it was so exciting. I tell you, each one of those guys had to earn those positions that they put up on the board. Nothing given, nothing taken there. Or everything taken, nothing given. However you want to look at it, they did a fine job to end up where they're at. So congrats to David Poole, narrowly hanging on over Juan Monroy.
So we're here in Quali 2, just waiting for some latecomers to show up if they do. So last time we ran here, like I said, was back in 2010, March 22nd of 2010. Race went 28 laps. Max distance for tonight is 30. Fastest lap of the race was a 2:04.3 set by Adam Gerkitz in the Z06. David Canavan got pole in the Ferrari with a 2:11. That was in the wet. And Cameron Chaudhry won the race. Led 27 of the 28 laps.
Yeah, if memory serves, I think we were also both in that race. So I have to say I can't remember too much about it. But in any event, yeah. Ah, yes, the best car in the field at that time, no question about it. But
kind of wish that car was back in there. That was I love that car. Right-hand drive, sounded great. It's fast too.
Yeah, fun times. But
could barely see
boy, we would sure. It was tough, no question about it. You kind of needed a submarine, a scope. What the heck they call those things?
Periscope.
Periscope, yeah.
So it looks like we're going to have 29 runners here tonight. So pretty good field for tonight's event.
29 runners. I just have to follow up real quickly with that again. That 04 whatever it was, best lap. Well, that would have slotted us in somewhere around 22nd for those guys running those times 4 years ago around here. So The pace has quickened now.
Yeah, it certainly has. And there's nothing really different. It's the same track. A few different cars since then, but the TVR was out there.
Ah, indeed it was, yes.
Moses was in the TVR with Gup Douglas. I finished ahead of Moses by a solid 4 seconds.
If memory serves, I remember hearing a lot of chatter by Moses in that season, in that TVR, and you know what? I'm just not sure that the results quite matched the chatter we heard throughout that season.
Well, we have reached the warm-up here as these guys circulate the track, practice their pit stops. Taking a look at the track temp. Right now, warm-up 89 degrees. Track temp 80 degree Fahrenheit ambient temperature. No doubt the threat of rain is there, so these guys are going to hopefully have had some practice there in the wet. But Brad, while these guys go around, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Yep. So, just starting this warm-up period now. This is NAGP TV bringing you this round 6 coverage, I believe, here at Sepang. So, the track temperature now has gone to 89 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to guess the majority of these drivers would like that temperature to stay right where it is when we start this event, coupled with a dry track as well. We'll have to see just what kind of conditions that we do get. Certainly any wet around here on this track will throw a pretty big wrench into the gears of this race. But also, no doubt, many of these drivers have prepared somewhat for the wet, as it does rain around here quite a bit. And no doubt they would have seen those conditions from time to time while practicing on that server. So it was David Poole once again narrowly eclipsing Juan Monroy in that qualifying period. And don't know if we covered it. Season championship points leader Alex White did end up slotting into 8th, so a very fine time put in by Alex with that 80 kilos. Now, we have seen Alex White accumulate quite a bit of weight in the past due to good points finishing results, and it not always working out well for him, most notably this season here at Osterschleiben. Not quite able to manage that weight at that track and actually slipped back pretty precipitously, and to be fair, did have some help, I think, with some lap traffic as well. But further down the list, John Wathen did end up slotting in 10th, and that is a very fine time for John Wathen. Now, John Wathen, we have not seen John put in the results that he would certainly like to be putting in this season, so a 10th place start here for John Wathen will be a nice lift to the spirits here in what has been an otherwise pretty dreadful season, it has to be said. Now, John Houston, part of that T-Brock Dam Bam team that is in the points, he is going to take 13th. So some championship rivals in that team classification will have the upper hand here, I think, on T-Brock Dam Bam. Most notably that other team, which I cannot quite recall to my memory at the moment. It doesn't look like we've had anybody rejoin. I think somebody did drop, so it's going to be 28 starters here tonight, assuming nobody else drops from this point on. It was definitely 29, so somebody dropped and has not made it back in. But looking further down the list, I don't see anything else that's too out of the ordinary. Perhaps Jaime Moore could come up with some pretty good speed. He is a rather speedy driver from the back of the grid, but he did suffer that no qualifying penalty here tonight as a result of an incident out at Monza. So maybe a bit of a surprise, be rather mired in the pack here. Dan Wilkerson in that competition coupe Viper has certainly not put in the type of qualifying result that he would like. Dan actually well and truly up in that fight for the championship early in the season, has slipped of late, taking no points there at Osterschleiben and a mere 7 points at Monza. So Dan's task of reclaiming some of those points and getting back into that championship fight will be tested here tonight from that 23rd position. Kreshnik Khalili, we touched on Kreshnik briefly. Kreshnik has put in some very fine results this season, but finds himself 19th currently on this grid here tonight at Sepang. And Al made a point about the Porsches. It doesn't look like any of the Porsches really have run all that strongly here in our qualifying session. That could change over the course of the race, as they do get very good at fuel economy and tire wear as well. So perhaps can make some push forward through this field during the race event.
All right, Brad, I am back. Thank you. So warm-up has ended. About to head over to the race. So I heard you mention we had someone drop.
Yeah, I'm not quite coming up who that might have been.
Was Con? No. Is it Greg Myers? I think it was. That's a shame.
Oh, yeah, looks like it might have been.
All right, well, let's run down the starting order here tonight, starting from pole. Ooh, damp track conditions. Starting from pole is David Poole in the Gumper, followed by Monroy. Eiran Parsons third, Matt Taylor running fourth, and Prato fifth.
John Liddon's going to take 6th. Marty Urin had a nice time to 7th. Alex White, with all that weight, takes 8th. Mike Monahan is in 9th. The injured Mike Monahan, John Wathen, takes 10th.
Jonathan Cuppett will start 11th. Rodrigo Triana 12th. John Houston 13th. Felipe Triana 14th. And Kurt Chandler 15th.
Mike Tressler's going to slot 16th. Kevin Miller's in 17th. Kreshnik Khalili in 18th. Mike Greetrek's a little disappointing. They're in 19th. Gup Douglas takes 20th.
David Rowley starting 21st. Johnny Lugnut's 22nd. Dan Wilkerson 23rd. Connor Swain 24th. And Jack Ivey 25th.
Lou Mascarelli starts 26th. Jaime Moore's in 27th. Brian Story in 28th. And that's going to do it here tonight.
Track just went to wet, Brad, so there you have it.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen at some point. Didn't see it at all in the practice or leading up to the race, but the track has certainly gone to wet. 99-degree track temperature, too. So I heard one quote I heard from the 05 guys was the hard wets really roast in the heat, in the wet heat. Hot track conditions, wet, hot track conditions, so car doesn't like that.
Yeah, well, none of the cars are going to like that very much through some of these high-speed sweepers. Put a lot of heat into those tires, and it's hard to say if this is going to change. Conditions don't call for a lot of rain going forward.
Look for Monroy here to have a strong run in that Ford, but we're about to go green here from Sepang. We're underway, round 6. Nice start for David Poole. Matt Taylor taking a look on the inside. We're going to go 3 wide going into turn 1. Taylor might take the position away from Monroy. Ooh, as Parsons was the loser there. Monroy's going to slide into 2nd. Taylor 3rd, Luden up to 4th. And Parsons has dropped back to 5th. Wow. Ooh, big lurch there by Prato. But he has saved it. Looks like the rest of the field getting through okay. in here, right behind Alex White. Alex White having a look on Marty Eiran on the inside. Going into turn 7 and 8, got better of it. Mike Monahan back in 11th. Watson and looks like Kevin Miller. Ooh! Triana takes it off. I think that was self-induced.
Yeah, Kreshnik also having some
big
problems
slide
there
from
at the same
Monroy.
point.
He's lost it. Oh, he's fallen way back through the field. That's unfortunate. We just caught it. A little too much throttle there on exit, and he just looped that Ford, and his teammate now just drops him down to 15th. Wow. Just like that, Brad.
Yeah, well, so work to do catching up. If these guys in front of them start making mistakes, it's going to make it a lot easier, but going to have to show a lot of patience here early for the next couple laps.
Luden has jumped up to 4th now after that miscue by Monroy, and Luden, as Parsons nearly does the same thing.
I got to give you a quick update here on Connor Swain. Connor Swain picked up to position 13th at the moment on track. So Connor Swain, big jump here through the field over the first lap.
Yeah, I noticed that too, Brad. He had a good start. Meanwhile, Taylor hangs on to that second position as these two duke it out. That's allowing David Poole to gap these guys a little bit. Off to a great start here early.
Boy, more Columbia troubles. Rodrigo Triana has taken it off again going into turn 1. So Rodrigo Triana now back in the field.
Alex White has gotten past Marty Eiran. Marty Eiran's got his hands full with John Houston all over the back of him. Ooh, as Eiran takes it off. Looks like Houston's going to hang on to that. He does. Mike Monahan now up to 9th.
Boy, in these conditions, really helping out Alex White at the moment. His weight is going to be negated a little bit by his experience here in the wet.
Marty nearly takes it off again.
Oh, Watson.
Yeah, I just caught that in the background. Kevin Miller with a great start to tonight's race. Ooh, Watson, hang on.
There was a very nice save for John Watson, actually, to keep it as straight as he did.
Kevin Miller up to 11th. Watson really looks like he's got his hands full with that Mustang. You mentioned Swain. He's up to 13th. Monroy now up a position of 14th. Mike Trussler in 15th, while Lugnuts with a great start up to 16th. And it looks like Cuppet, Greatrix, and Jaime Moore back in 19th. Cup Douglas running in 20th, filling in for Ian Jolicourt. Dan Wilkerson, followed by Jack Ivey, Brian Story. David Raleigh nearly loops it. You mentioned Triana, yeah, he's way back in 25th. Oh, Kurt Chandler with a tough start. He's fallen back to 26th. Kreshnik, and it looks like Lou's got some damage to his Corvette. Back out front, looks like Matt Taylor has come into some trouble. Preto's gotten past. So right now it's an 05 Motorsport 1-2.
You know, and I was just taking a look at those points, Al. You know, 05 Motorsport in those positions have a real chance to get back into this championship fight here, given where their rivals are running at the moment.
Parsons has gained his composure a little bit here, running in 3rd. Not that far off these guys. Gaps are relatively close, within a couple seconds. Freito hanging on to 4th. Meanwhile, Taylor and White running 5th and 6th respectively as Taylor nearly takes it off. I suspect Taylor to give this position up to his teammate. And he does.
Yeah, and what a great start for Alex White. I don't think really he could have planned it any better than it has gone for him. So, a great opportunity to hang close to Aaron Parsons and retain that points lead.
don't know if White took it in too deep or there's a miscommunication there, but nonetheless, White is in front of his teammate. Houston
yeah, as you watch that,
going at it. Go ahead, Brad.
No, sorry, I was just going to update you on another battle here over 11th. Juan Monroy, Kevin Miller fighting tongue and fork here. Ooh, the conditions have just called for some thunderous rain out.
Looks like... Oh, there we go. Monroy, oh yeah, Monroy looking on the outside of Kevin Miller here going into the final corner. As Miller takes it off and just gave it up. Monroy now up to 11th.
Yeah, I was feeling the heat from that Ford Power coming down that straight. Certainly, Brian would have had a lot of answer for him in the twisties, but not so much on the straights.
Big battle here as Houston. Ooh, Houston and looks like Triana have a little coming together there. Felipe. Oh, seemed like a bit of an aggressive move there by Houston, if you ask me. But that's just one man's opinion.
Well, aggressive and John Houston don't ordinarily come up in the same phrase, and you know what? It's hard to blame a guy for every now and then trying to take a chance if he sees it. So almost all these runners surely on the hard wets out given our temperature and conditions to start this race, but the forecast does call again for some monsoon type conditions. So quickly we could start seeing these guys have even more troubles with grip here than they have shown early.
Closest battle on track right now is this Triana and Houston duel. Right behind them it's Monroy and Mike Monahan, the injured Mike Monahan.
Yeah, that is a good battle. There is another one taking place over 15th, though. A four-way battle at the moment over 15th place. Lugnuts has it. The other guys want it.
Another battle here between Connor Swain and Mike Trussler. We know how Lugnuts is in the wet. Behind them, Jaime Moore. Hey, you mentioned that. Kevin Miller. John Cuppett also involved here.
Yeah, and meanwhile, quick update out front. It is the Gumperts really just kind of steadily pulling away from this field and Aaron Parsons at the moment.
You see, we're on board with Miller, but that Viper stretching its legs down these straights, making it hard on him. Moore unable to get by Lugnuts here for that 15th spot.
That's going to be a tough task, I think.
Looking further up here, this battle between Monahan and Monroy. Monroy has made the pass on Mike, and he's got now his sights set on John Houston, as Houston's given up a position to Triana. Now Triana, he's on a tear here. He's already up. He's closed the gap up to Marty Eiran. Looks like we lost somebody. Not sure who that was.
Yeah, I didn't catch that, Al. I didn't hear it. Wow, some really tough conditions for those guys out there at the moment, obviously.
Matt Taylor looks like he's had a moment as well, as Marty has closed the gap up on Matt. this track gets, the better it's going to suit those comforts. Ooh, Marty taking it wide and giving it up to Felipe. A lot of these guys struggling here in the wet.
Yeah, and Marty last season, of course, was in that BMW with Dunlops. Now, that is a pretty devastating car in the wet, and I'm sure he would like to be in that car here for this race. But it's not going to happen.
That Taylor 6 P5 is Alex White. He was hanging on to the back of Prato, and Parsons not able to shake these guys off. Parsons running in third. Losing a bit of ground to Luden now and Poole.
Yeah, and as you watch that fight, I'll give you a quick update. Mike Monahan has slipped back here, giving up another position to John Houston. So John Houston now running in the top 10.
Rumble with Alex White here as he tries to chase down Prato, who's in fourth.
Yeah, that battle has definitely come together, and Alex White certainly looks to have a little bit of pace on Andres Prieto. Now, we've seen Andres not have very good pace generally in the wet in this Ford GT, so Andres Prieto, once again, not showing his sea legs here.
This track is hard enough in the drive, but these conditions are just so difficult.
Yeah, they are. This is a real coup for Alex White here. This has really worked out well for him, and I think Eiran's going to have to come up with something special. He's going to have to try to figure out some way to advance his position here over those two very fast Gumperts if he wants to try to claw back some serious points on Alex
with
White.
a moment. That's going to give it up to White. Both of them sideways on exits. Ooh, we got a drag race down the main straight. It looks like the Ford may have it over the Aston.
Yeah, Andres is not going to back off here.
So Prato's going to, we think, hang on to it. He does. That's White. It's out on that curbing. Got the car out of shape, but back on it.
And as you watch that battle, I'll give you a quick update. It is
Prato
Jonathan
with
Cuppett
another
going
mistake.
for the...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, Jonathan Cuppett goes through Connor Swain for the 15th position into turn 1. Oh, they're still fighting side by side coming off 2.
Incredible battle here between GT2's last 4 drivers champions combined, I believe. Prato and White.
Yep.
And Prato doing everything he can to give up that position to White, but able to recover yet again. These lap times are falling. They're way off here. Prato nearly 3 seconds off his last split, his best split.
Yeah, no doubt Alex White's not helping him out with that, but going through the timing and scoring, everybody is a bit off their times now for sure. The track is getting wetter.
White has anything for Prato here going into the final corner. And be side by side. Ooh, Prato. The old chop block. Ooh, White nearly loses it again. So that's going to lose him a little bit of time on Prato. So taking a quick look at the gaps, it's Poole up 3 seconds over his teammate, and Luden 5 seconds plus up over Parsons in third.
Yeah, and as you watch that, I'll tell you about the battle shaping up here over 7th place. Juan Monroy, Marty Eiran, and Felipe Triana all involved in a heated three-way battle here.
What a run
for
back
that spot.
through the field for Monroy. Wow, he rejoined in 15th after that mistake and now finds himself in 7th. Monroy is flying. He was my pick, but he had to throw it off.
Yeah, and teammate Felipe Triana also making some nice progress back through the field after he went toward the rear too. Or I'm sorry, that's the other Triana. Forget I said anything. Sorry, Rodrigo. Rodrigo has not recovered.
So Mike Monahan in 9th. And John Watkins still with us here. He's currently in 10th. Nice to see him still on track. Really putting the pressure on Mike Monahan here for 9th.
With these types of conditions, these guys should have a pretty big fuel window here. And boy, the guy that jumps in, maybe slaps on those monsoon tires, could have an advantage over the field. You know, the question is just when do you come in to prevent all sorts of wear on those soft wets, but it might be worth a gamble by some guys a little further back.
The track still is wet, has not gone flooded quite yet. Not sure if it will. The threat of thunder has subsided.
Oh, indeed it has.
So I think, I just don't think it's wet enough to go on those monsoons, but I'm not out there, I don't know.
Well, taking a chance is just that, you know. What do you, is it worth the risk? Me, I might already have been into the pits and gotten hosed, so to speak.
Tell you what, Mike Trussell put it. Ooh, as Houston takes it off, gives that 12th spot up to Trussell. So Trussell having a great run here. Just going to comment on his. He was putting the pressure on Houston, and he certainly did. As Houston threw it off, Jaime Moore, who served a no qualifying, has found his way up to 14th here early on. Cuppett in the points in 15th, and Kevin Miller in 16th. Behind him, we got Wilkerson, Swain, currently in 18th. Mike Greatrix back there in 19th, followed by Johnny Lugnut. So Johnny looks like he might have made a mistake here. He was up in the points earlier. He's fallen back to 20th. Cup Douglas there back in 21st. Rodrigo Triana running 22nd. Brian Story 23rd. Jack Ivey back in 24th. And Kurt Chandler finds himself back in 25th. So Lou Mascarelli back in 26th, about to be put a lap down already. So Lou having a tough night. Ooh, nearly loses it in front of one of the front runners. So it's going to be a tough night for Lou. So it looks like Rally's out of the competition here tonight. So David Poole and John Luden continue to lead. Looks like Luden might have closed the gap a little bit up on his teammate. He does. It's under 3 seconds now, 2.4.
Yeah, that gap was actually as low as 2 seconds there. I suspect it was a bit of a David Poole mistake. Not too surprising given the conditions, but all things are okay now and continue to gain just a little bit of time on Aaron Parsons lap over lap.
This battle for fourth continues to press on here and further back. Monroy now threatening for that 6th position. And he may take it here going into 1. Wow, Monroy on a charge. He does it with ease. Wow.
Yeah, and that Ford is on the Pirelli tires, so it will be advantage to that Ford on those tires in these conditions.
Thank God I didn't have money on Monroy to win, because I'd be pulling my hair out right now, whatever hair I have left.
Yeah, so Juan Monroy down now about 6 seconds to Alex White. He got by teammate Matt Taylor pretty easily, so it'll be interesting to see here if Juan Monroy can claw back some time on Alex White before the pit stops. Looks like Juan might have something for him here.
Well, Monroy currently fast lap of the race with the 2:13.2. So really throwing down some strong laps here.
Yeah, and checking on those lap times actually have improved here over the last lap or two. So the track is definitely coming back to these guys.
Got Ryan Triana still currently back behind Marty Eiran for that. Currently running in 9th. Hasn't been able to put the move on Marty. He's been following him around here for quite some time.
Yeah, that gap has kind of closed up and then gone back out, then closed up again. So that fight continues. It doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere anytime soon. So pit stops could be pretty valuable for one of those guys.
I'll tell you what, Monroy. Ooh, as Prater with another moment. Well, actually, that might be his normal line. You know what? It seems like. Just looks like he's about to throw it off track every time he enters that corner, but he's still out in front of White, but not far in the distance, lurking. Bit of alerts there as White's going to try and take. Ooh, a little contact. Yep, you have it.
I think Andres tried to shut the barn door there when it was just a little too late. Everything had escaped by that point.
Yeah, and he's got, I was just going to mention, Monroy lurking there in the distance. He's got pace on these two guys up in front, so I suspect it won't be too long before Monroy gets past Prato and then gets to work on Alex White, because I think he's definitely got pace on those two guys.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now the temperature does continue to climb. The track has gone to damp, Al, so quickly drying out here this track. And more decisions yet to be made here, as we are actually approaching stops coming up pretty soon. So
yeah, so the track has gone to damp, 102-degree track temp. So it's going to be decision time here. It stopped raining, I believe, so decision time for the Gumpert boys. They're going to, how long do they stay out? Ooh, as Pole has a bit of a moment. Nearly loses it, but how long do they stay out on these wets?
Well, it's 102 degrees out there, and the tires are absolutely going to be screaming by this point. They certainly are already, and they're only going to get worse. In fact, given the nature of the track...
Poole looking for wet part of the track. Go ahead.
This is even the type of track where they can have to worry about even blowing a tire here. Over a certain heat, those tires will blow, and there are some corners here which will get those tires very hot.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on Poole here as he searches for moisture on that track.
I tell you one other thing, Al. It has been the experience here in the past on this track. It does not dry out very, very quickly. If these guys do go on slicks, I expect there could be a bit of moisture hanging around for quite a while on this track, maybe through the end of the race even.
Yeah, the track certainly looks very wet. You may see some guys further back take that gamble, but a guy like Monroy, who's currently flying right now, he may elect to stay out as long as he can, and then...
Okay, I have lost Alex White. I think Alex White has jumped into the pits, or he's made a mistake. No, just now coming into the pits, Al.
Oh, so White has pitted, so he is going to be the first to act, I take it.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
Ooh, yeah, here we go. Matt Taylor's in. Wathen in. White. Guppet. Houston. Bevy of traffic here in the pit lane.
Yeah, so what are they going to do? I got to expect all these guys started on the hard wets. Now, there's a possibility somebody started on the inters, but I got to assume it's hard wets, so... What do you do here? You know, it's looking like inners, but...
Monahan in. Yeah, I don't know. I mean... Is it that hot that they had to come in? I mean, wouldn't you want to, like, wait it out a little bit to see if the track dries up a bit more? No? Wayne takes it off.
I think it really did come down to tire heat. I think these guys were seeing that telemetry coming off the tires, and they said, "Well, we just we could." I think they're also losing too much grip out there with that tire wear. It's scaring them a bit, Al.
Well, let's see what David Poole does here. It's a tricky pit entrance here, so. But I suspect Poole is. What's he doing? He's staying out? Luden stays out. Parsons is going to stay out as well. Preto and Monroy. Monroy all over the back of Preto. Marty Eiran now has closed up as... looks like Preto's bringing it into the pits. Marty's going to stay out.
Let me tell you something, Al. Alex White did have a problem coming into that pit stop. He was going to cycle back through behind John Houston. Now, John Houston's cycle was running like 15th before those stopped.
So now that Preto's out of the way, I suspect Monroy to gap Eiran here a little bit prior to pits. Parsons remains in third. Luden and Poole are your top three. So,
All right, 106 degrees. That track temperature continues to climb.
Preto, yep, he's in.
Yeah, I tell you, Al, I think that Aaron Parsons always is going to run it as late as he possibly can, and I suspect that he is going to...
Mike Monahan has taken it off, so Mike may be on the slicks.
Oh boy, just had a Viper take it off too. Must have been Houston.
Yep. So you know,
given the nature of how quickly that that car came around, John Houston's on the slick.
So you know, Houston's going to be relaying that data back to his teammate here, who's still out on track.
Well, all I know is that something has happened to Alex White.
Poole in the pits. Ooh, and Luden has spun it. Parsons has stayed out. Luden spun it going into the pit lane.
Wow, David Poole in.
See what Monroy does here.
Oh boy, it is treacherous on those slicks out there.
So Monroy's going to jump up to second, but you know, that's the mistake I think Parsons may have needed, as Luden lost a bunch of time there. Ooh, it looks like one of the Vipers is on. Yeah, that looks like it might have been Cuppet or Wilkerson. They appear to be on slicks.
Wow. Well, this is going to shake things up, no question.
David Poole, let's see what he does as he exits the pit lane here. See what his grip level is like. Poole is away.
Ooh, Matt Taylor throws it off track momentarily, so Matt Taylor having trouble.
So interested to see what Poole does here. It looks like Poole may have gone on inters. Doesn't look like he's struggling like some of these other guys.
Boy, 107 degrees on track. That's even for the intermediate tires. That's kind of rough. We don't have so long to go, but they're really going to have to manage those tires.
So Preto has leapfrogged Luden, so Preto has gained a position. Story has yet to pit. Matt Taylor has pitted, and he looks like he has gone on slicks. Let's see.
Yeah, Matt Taylor having quite a bit of troubles out there. I tell you, looking through timing and scoring, I think one guy not choosing to go with the slick tires is Alex White. I think Alex White jumped on the inners. His lap time's relatively good, but he did make a mistake before coming into that pit stop, so he will cycle through well back from where he was.
Yep, so yeah, it looks like White is on the inters, but hey, if this track continues to dry out, which it looks like it might be doing, guys who can survive here on slicks may be able to make some headway here late. Oh, Luden has taken it off track. He's off in the gravel. Wow.
Oh boy.
Jack Ivy's off. Triana has come into the pit, so Triana, one of the last guys to come in. Jaime Moore is in. Oop, Monroy is in. Marty away. Quick stop for Marty. He beats Monroy out.
Oh, Matt Taylor, another spin. Oh, these guys are struggling. Slicks were a bad choice. Another Porsche off behind him again, but John Wathen up to 9th, and I think he's going to pick up some more positions here from guys in the pit.
Well, Mike Trussler currently running in 2nd. He has yet to pit. But that Corvette is pretty good on fuel, if I'm not mistaken, so he could go pretty deep if he could keep the tires underneath that car. He could be all right here late.
Oh, even if they're on the wets, I mean, their lap times are so much better than guys on the slicks. Why not stay out till they, you know, at least until they blow up?
Yeah, look at Parsons. Yep, looking for some dampness on track. Let's see what he does here. Is he going to pit? No, Parsons is staying out.
You know, there's so little time left to run here. I mean, relatively. Aaron Parsons knows there's a lot of guys around him on slicks. Why not go ahead and jump onto the inners?
See what Trussler does here if he elects to stay out. Ooh, David Poole has taken it off track.
Wow.
Caught that in the distance. Preto, looks like Preto might get by him. Oh no, he's a little too far back. But yep, Poole.
Well, what the hell does Aaron do now? Sorry, Al, he's in a position to win this race, so based on his decision, you know, he can win this thing.
Yeah, if he can manage those tires, why come in?
Boy, very cagey for Aaron Parsons. Let me tell you, if my pit window had opened earlier, I would have jumped onto those monsoon tires. These guys are smarter than me, no question about it.
So we got guys dropping here late. Parsons running fast times. Matt Taylor takes it off again right in front of Parsons. Ooh, Parsons had to check up for Taylor. Ooh, a little dicey there for Parsons. One of our commenters suggesting Parsons may have started on intermediates.
Yeah, so it is John Watson up into the 8th position. What a great run for John.
Parsons into the pit lane.
So if it was inters for Aaron Parsons, I've got to think it'd just be another set of intermediate tires. He doesn't have too much to lose at this point. The lap times are good. And David Poole, no match for him, as it's pretty obvious Poole is on the slick.
Let's see what Trussler does here. If he stays out, it's he's gonna do. He's gonna take over the lead of this race.
Yeah, Mike Trussler looks like he would slot somewhere back into 7th or 8th. So it'd be quite a time gain for him, surely. Oh, it looks like Poole is going to clip Parsons. Even with those David Poole mistakes, I'm a little surprised by that.
Wow, that is kind of surprising. You're right. Well, he did have about 10 seconds on, well, about 8 to 10 seconds on Parsons prior to that pit stop, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and that time is going to remain. Yeah, that time is going to remain 10 seconds. Maybe it was just a David Poole mistake, and he's actually not on the slicks, but just had made some type of mistake.
So, further back here, Prato running in 4th now, not far off of Parsons, actually. So, good stop from Prato. Coming alive here. Monroy now. Hey, Monroy has gone by Eiran, so Monroy, we know he's got tremendous pace here tonight. Let's see what he can do here in the second half of this race, if he can close up on Prato. Let's take a look at that gap real quick. It's substantial. It's about 17 seconds over back of Prato, so quite a bit of time.
Yeah, Juan is not going to. Yeah, he's not going to have the same type of advantage here as it dries out as he did in the wet with those Pirellis on.
So Marty back in 6th. We got Wathan. You mentioned him. He's up to 7th now. So Wathan having a good run. No sense of him quitting now. Might as well finish this one out.
Yeah, why not for a change?
So Luden, after his off-track moments, he has slotted back to 8th. So what was surely looking to be a 05 Motorsports 1-2 heading into the pit stops has come crashing down on him, well, at least for one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I seem to remember this track actually holding on to the moisture quite a bit, but it certainly doesn't seem that way. There's definitely a dry line, and you know what? I don't know that it actually is looking that bad off the line at the moment either. So,
oh, as Luden has another mistake.
Well, there you go. Forget I said anything.
Abby Moore now up to 9th in front of Alex White, with these guys having a tight battle here. As Moore has a bit of a moment. Well, if Moore is running the same setup as Prato, I don't think White's going to have the legs to get by him. He is not.
Yeah, in all due respect to Jaime Moore, he is not the driver. Oh, there we go.
Yep, that's me.
I was going to say, he's not quite the driver Andres is. Not quite up to that snuff. Plenty fast. All due respect and all that, but Andres is pretty good.
So White takes that spot away. Trussler rejoins in 8th. So a quick stop from Mike. Jumps up in front of Alex White.
Yeah, Alex White came to some type of disastrous end right before that pit stop. Not sure what happened, but in any event, it's not serving him very well at the moment.
Well, it should be interesting here. I wonder if White, if he took inters, which we think he may have, and Trussler's on the slicks.
I don't think there's any way. I don't think there's any way Alex White could have been on the slicks, given his lap times after the stops. He was running the same times as Eiran Parsons there for a lap or two. It seems very unlikely to me that he would have been able to maintain that pace on the slick.
On board with White. on Trussler for holding off multiple time GT2 Drivers Champion Alex White, and actually looks like he's starting to gap him a little bit.
Yeah, take a look at those times. It's an Alex White 2:12, 2:11 last lap to David Poole's 2:06.6. Now he is in traffic, of course, but taking a look at those gaps, it is Eiran Parsons now, which has picked up a couple seconds on David Poole here in the last lap or two.
Well, Jaime Moore, he's searching for wet track. He must be on inters. I'll tell you what. Yeah, there's no doubt about it now. It looks like, well, we'll see what happens here, but White may take a look on the inside of Trussler. Nope, can't get it done.
Boy, currently showing lap 18 here of a scheduled 28, as mentioned, so we still have a few laps to run here yet on a very high speed and semi-damp track. Boy, Eiran Parsons continuing to take out some time on David Poole. Looks like Poole might have been in some traffic.
So it looks like Monroy may have made a mistake as Marty has gotten past, as one of the Vipers there in the background has lost it. Monroy taking a look at the inside of Marty, not going to be able to get it done. Felipe, take that back. Ooh, is Eiran, I'm sorry, excuse me, Monroy takes it off. Preto now running in third. Parsons in second. Poole, let's take a look at that gap. Is 6 seconds. Preto 16 seconds back of these guys.
Yeah, that gap from Eiran Parsons to David Poole is definitely closing here, so I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I can tell you there are still quite a few good battles through the field. One of them for over 10th, Cuppet and Moore at the moment. Side by side.
Going into the final corner.
Yeah, Houston lurking there as well.
On board with Houston. So Cuppet having a strong run after a disappointing qualifying finds himself in 11? I'm sorry, 10. Sorry, top 10.
Well, yeah, I think Eiran definitely made it.
Sorry.
No, you're watching a good battle there. Yeah, quickly as these guys get sorted out here, I think Eiran Parsons has got to be on the slicks here. So definitely, he made it long enough to jump onto the slicks. It looks like.
Sorry, Houston nearly gets in the back of Moore. But go ahead, back to your point.
I tried to finish before they got to that. Corner. It didn't work.
Well, you know what they say about you, Brad. You can talk a dog off a meat wagon. All right, well, this is quite the battle here. I think Houston appears to have the pace on Moore. I think Moore may be on wet weather tires. He may be on inters. He was really searching for wet, going offline, looking for wet track. So he might be struggling here. Houston is just a matter of time before he gets past.
Ooh, Triana out with a motor.
Ouch.
Okay, now I see the problem. It's Connor Swain, which has kind of inserted himself, I think, between some of these battles. David Poole really dropped off. Looked like Eiran Parsons did have some trouble getting past Connor.
Meanwhile, John, quite a few battles here on track. Meanwhile, this one here, we got Wathen fending off John Luden. Looks like Wathen may be on inters. Wathen pitted early, so he's going to be losing some track time. Sorry, go ahead. What do you
It's
got?
a mistake by David Poole. Aaron Parsons gets through for the lead.
There you have it.
Wow.
Just like that.
Wow, and how many times has it come undone for David Poole? Now, he has not been up in the thick of the championship fight this season, just coming up a little short all these seasons, and here it's come unraveled for him again, Al.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, right now he's still running in second, but he's got Preto not far back, so Preto's going to be, he smells blood here on Poole, as Poole, we're guessing, is on intermediates, or, I know, it's a pure guess.
Yeah, I have to assume so, yeah. I tell you, it was a very difficult place David Poole was in, because that Gumpert is very difficult with tire heating anyway, so he was in a bad spot there trying to hang out and to see if he could jump onto the slicks. As just basically a tough break for him.
So Poole falls back to second, leading much of this race. Now finds himself behind Parsons, while Preto is right there as well. Looks like he's gaining time on Poole. Got looks like that swaying in between the two of them, a lap car. Eiran has really, considering the weight he's carrying, running solidly in fourth with Monroy behind. John Luden has gotten past Wathen. Wathen is probably going to drive the tires off of that thing, because it looks like those things are overheating. Meanwhile, Mike
I think he's got it.
Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Keep going.
Meanwhile, Mike Trussler doing an excellent job keeping Alex White behind. It's been like this since since Trussler came out of his pit. Oh, and White gets it done. Wow, Trussler really made that easy on him.
Well, Trussler's in a good spot here in the top 10 if he feels Alex White is really going to be quite a bit faster. No reason to really get involved in a big fight. That's going to cost Trussler a possibility of this great finish here. So
looks like Preto may have made a mistake, as he's lost a bit of time. He's got some lap. Ooh, big mistake from Preto. He takes it off.
wow.
Big slide. Wow. He's got it back on track. He's got some time to spare, but all that work put in to catch back up to Poole, just threw it all away right there. It's going to be hard for him to make that back up. So, big slide. Looking further back here, we got Alex White now closing in on Wathen for that 7th position. Trussler tucked in there in 9th. Houston back in 10th. Cuppet is in 11th, with Moore behind in 12th. Matt Taylor back in 13th. So Taylor, he had some issues after his pit stop, going on a few offs, but in the points as they run. Monahan in 14th. Mike was running in the top 10 early on, if I'm not mistaken. Kevin Miller in 15th, followed by Connor Swain in 16th. So those are your guys in the points. Taking a look further back, Johnny Lugnut's not far off of Connor, so Johnny's going to be looking for that last points paying position, no doubt. Brian Story in 18th, and Gup Douglas running around in 19th. Dan Wilkerson in 20th, followed by Jack Ivey. Liquid Lou Mascarelli. Lou is going up to Mosport, I believe, this weekend to two-door race. I believe that's where they're at. I'll be hanging out with Johnny and Jack and all those guys. Ian.
That'll be a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Lou lives close by to me, actually. It'd actually be a fun trip. Go meet those guys. So that's Lou, the last guy running here tonight, but back out front, it's Eiran Parsons leading the way. Ahead of David Poole. It looks like David Poole might have clawed back some time on Parsons.
Yeah, certainly found a bit more of a rhythm here after that mistake, but a lap or so after that mistake. So how much rhythm can you really find over the course of just a single lap? But certainly looking a little bit better here at the moment. Now, it is still Johnny Lugnuts here fighting with Connor over that 16th spot. Oh, as a Porsche goes off, I think that's Brian's story. And so that battle is gonna open back up, but pretty close for that 16th spot there momentarily.
Yeah, I believe that happened right in front of Prato. So now Connor in 15th. Yeah, that Porsche Miller in 16th. Johnny right there in 17th. On board with Lugnuts. On the inside, and does he get it done? I don't think so, not yet. Side by side, it's going to be advantage Johnny, possibly. Nope. Nice job by Miller to hang on to that position. Very nice. Tells me Johnny's going to have another look here coming up, possibly back straight. Ooh, maybe not. Battle here for the final points paying position. See if Johnny can get a run on Kevin. Ooh, he doesn't need to. Nice exit out of that corner there by Johnny. Let's see if he can hang on to it. That Porsche's hanging with the vet. And Kevin's got to give it up. So nice job by Johnny to take away that final points paying position.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to have a little bit of speed on Connor Swain as well, so he might be able to get back up there in time to have a go before this race ends.
Well, let's see now if Kevin decides to take a look on the inside. Not close enough. So, great battle there. Let's see here, further up we got White. Ooh, what happened to Wathen? Oh, Wathen's fallen back to 9th. Wathen continuing to search for wet track. Ooh, Mike nearly loses it. So back up front here, it's Monroy running in 5th, followed by Marty. Oh, at least these two guys were close after pit stops, but Marty really laying down some laps here and checking out from Monroy. Brito in 3rd. In the battle for 1st here, it's David Poole and Eiran Parsons. Poole's, ooh, as looks like Monahan with a bit of a moment. Parsons has had a few moments like that with some lap cars. But Poole's got him in sight here, Brad.
Yeah, that gap has gotten pretty stabilized here. Eiran Parsons is having to work some lap traffic, slowing him down a little bit every now and then. But overall, that gap has remained pretty static here over the last couple, 3 laps.
Looking at probably about 2 or 3 laps to go here in this one. Track has, well, it's 111 degree track temperature. It remains damp. It has not gone to dry. As you see Prato there just turning onto the main straight. So Prato ways back.
And looking through timing and scoring it is John Houston, quickly catching another John, this time John Wathen for 9th. I think John Houston quite a bit better speed here at the moment than John Wathen.
Yeah, we know it's pretty obvious Wathen is struggling with his tires, so it's just a matter of time, I think, before Houston makes the move on him. In fact, he probably could have stuffed it in right there, but it looks like he's going to do it. Here goes Wathen.
Careful on the wet stuff.
Oh, bit of a tail slide there for Houston, but gets it done.
Yeah, I had to jump onto that wet line to be able to get to the inside of Wathen there.
Final look here, we got Cuppet in 11, so he's got some space between himself and Moore back at 12. Mike Monahan looks like a battered Audi running in 13th. Matt Taylor 14th. Connor Swain under intense pressure now from Johnny Lugnuts, and there is a lapped car behind, lead car behind these guys, and that's Marty and Juan Monroy.
Yeah.
And looks like something tells me, well, that was going to happen. Ooh, oh, there's some contact as Marty got a little out of shape, but I think Monroy may have a run. Is Marty going to squeeze? Ooh. Now, Monroy taking a look on the inside.
Oh, boy.
Oh! Marty cut across the bow of Johnny Lugnuts and just clipped the front of his car. I don't think there's much Johnny could do there. But that drops John. Oh, Johnny's called it. He's not happy. He's called it a day.
Well, I don't know about that, but...
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, a couple other news and notes. Alex White has managed to catch up to John Ludner. John Ludner has gotten through Alex White, I should say. There was another battle brewing, which I've lost sight of.
So after that incident, that's moved Monroy up to 4th.
Oh, it was that battle, Juan Monroy and Marty Eiran.
So back out front here, it's Parsons leading. And this should be it here. Let's wait and see what happens. But this should be the race here coming up.
You know, I don't know what happened there with Marty, but if you have the opportunity to lose half a second or 0.2 of a second versus, 10 seconds or ending your race, I know what I'm going to choose. Now, don't know what happened, not going to call it. But that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and there you have it. Parsons takes the win here. David Poole's going to take second. Preto third. Let's see if Monroy can hang on to this 4th. It looks like he's going to do it. Monroy's going to take 4th. Marty's going to come here home in 5th. Luton's going to finish ahead of Alex White here, barring any dramatic events here at the end. But Luton's got it, followed by White. And tell you what, Mike Trussell continuing to put in some great points paying finishes. Now going to finish here in 8th. great job by Trussler.
Yeah, and as you watch him come in, I am pretty impressed by that Alex White coming back up to 7th. Don't know what happened before his stop, but he cycled through back to about 12th or 13th, so nice damage limitation for White.
Ooh, John Houston going to finish 9th. John Wathen is going to finish a race and will finish in 10th. So good
nice
job
run
by Wathen, despite his tire trouble. And Jonathan Cuppett here.
Yeah, we failed to notice his progress through the field, didn't we, Al?
Yeah, he did. He actually, I did mention early on, but he did have a good run here. Kind of quiet for the most part, but he's going to finish 11th, the last car on the lead lap. So, great job by Cuppett to take that 11th spot. So
11th. Yep.
It's horrible.
Aaron Parsons, do you copy?
I do, Al.
Hey, Alan Brad here in the broadcast booth. Congratulations. What a race for you tonight. Looked like it was going to be domination from the 05 Motorsports guys, and then the rains really set in. Well, first, can you clue us in on what your tire choice was to start the race and what you ended up doing there after your pit stop?
I took hard wets at the start of the race. They were good initially, and then it got slightly wetter, and the tyres were horrible. I was almost considering coming in for soft wets, but then it started drying out, so I stuck it out and waited for information from my teammate on when to switch to soft slicks on the pit stop.
Well, that was we were postulating on that tire choice to start, because you did take it very deep into that stint, and certainly those hard wets must have been very difficult. But the lap times were good before that stop. Just how surprised were you there in the end to come away with that win? It looked like the Gumpert sure had the pace there, but in the end you managed to play the right strategy and come out on top.
Yeah, I'd pretty much given up on the top two at the start of the race, at least. When I was on the hard wets at the start there, it was really, really slippery and difficult, and David Poole was just pulling away from me. It's nothing I could do it at all. But I think it was like lap 8, it was like a light switch went off, and suddenly I had grip again. So once that happened, the hard wets were excellent. So I could stay out as long as I wanted on those hard wets. Just wait for the temperatures to come up.
Were you a bit surprised to see Poole that far ahead of you after your pit stop? And we know you made that mistake there, but you were really closing the gap on him.
Not really, because I guess he must have switched to Inters, which was the best tyre to be on at that part of the race. So he would have had slightly better lap times while I was on the old hard wets. So I guess that's why he was a bit slower than me. I think he must have been on Inters.
Well, certainly going to pick up some points here tonight on your rival in the championship there, Alex White, as well as some significant team points. So battle is tightening up here. How do you see yourself next week as we head over to Suzuka with that weight in that car? How do you think you're going to shape up there?
Probably not the best track for this car. It's pretty much a pure downforce track at Suzuka, so hopefully just more sort of damage control than going for a win or anything at the next track, and then go for the tracks later on.
Well, congratulations, Aaron. You had a great run tonight, very impressive run actually, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you have it, Brad. Quite an eventful night here at Sepang. Parsons, some drama there at the end.
Yeah, it was a fun one. I don't know that we would have had that type of drama without the weather playing a role there tonight, but like you say, it is Eiran Parsons coming out on top of Alex White, and this is going to bode for some excitement coming down the stretch of this championship. Looks like those two guys are in the catbird seat as far as fighting for that final checkered flag, which will earn them the big prize, but certainly the team classification still very much up for grabs after the action here tonight. So a lot of excitement going forward in those two classifications.
Well, thanks everybody who has tuned in tonight. We'll be back next week from Suzuka for round 7. Until then, we'll be at Spa for round 5 of GT1 on Thursday, so hopefully you can join us for that. If not, we hope to see you back here next week, next Monday night at 9. Thank you, Brad. Thanks everybody who tuned in. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I do have to put in a real quick plug. We are getting in some of our Saturday iRacing broadcasts as well, so you can pay attention to the Twitch notifications on that should you want to check out any of that action too.
Oh, apologize for that. Thanks for throwing that in there, Brad. But Brad's been running that, so thank you very much. I know those guys appreciate it. So until next week, we'll see you guys. Thanks for tuning in.